Aborigines were the first people to arrive in Australia. They have been living there for an estimated time of 50,000 years. They lived peacefully, divided in several tribes scattered across the country. However, in 1770, Captain James Cook became the first European to discover Australia and claim the territory for the English crown. Colonists declared Australia terra nullius, which means uninhabited by humans. Saying this about Australia would imply that the Aborigines weren't considered as human beings, and for that reason the Europeans could claim the land. They had many difficulties to understand each other because the Aborigines had no conception of personal property, which was the opposite to the whites' conception. Moreover, the languages were different as well as the cultures. The Aborigines suffered a lot with the British settlement, where diseases were brought to Australia and where they lost most of their land. The whites gained over the years more and more power over Australia's native people. At the end of the 19th century, in 1897, an important law was passed to remove Aboriginal people's children and send them to dormitories where the whites' culture would be taught to them, in order to erase any Aboriginal culture in them. This was the beginning of the Stolen Generations era. Aboriginal children were taken away in order to break the circle where they passed on their knowledges, so it would get rid of their Aboriginal culture. This was a racist policy, aiming at whitening Australia. The Aborigines had already suffered too much with the colonization, but now they suffered even more. Mothers, fathers, and grandparents had to watch their children being taken away from them. It caused them deep sorrow and pain. In 1905, the role of Chief Protector was created. He is the legal guardian of children under the age of 16. It means he can choose the half castes that he wants to take away and put in the dormitories. In 68 years, more than 6,200 children were stolen from their families. Both suffered a lot. The families were desperate and became mad with grief and sorrow. Most of them committed suicide, knowing that they would never see their children again. The children, on their side, suffered too. Being in the dormitories just brought them loss of identity, loneliness, low self-esteem, and feeling of mistrust. Unfortunately, if the parents wanted to visit their children in the settlements, they had to ask permission to the Chief Protector. This whole suffering for the Australian native people ended in 1965. However, many children never saw their parents and families again. I think that these Aboriginal sufferings could never be healed. But the Australian government has tried, by creating the Story Day, for example, or other actions like reuniting families. I think that the Story Day is a great way to heal the Aboriginal people, but they will never heal because it's something that could never be replaced by some people saying sorry. They suffered too much, and this pain could never go away.